welcome to the Akron Public School Board meeting on August the 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. Vice President Alexander, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call.
Roll call.
Well, apologies to everyone.
Roll call. Mr. Alexander.
Present.
Ms. Autry.
Present.
Ms. Hall.
Present.
Reverend Harrison.
Present.
Dr. Jackson.
Present.
Dr. Molinar.
Present.
Mrs. Sykes.
Present.
All present.
Now, Vice President Alexander, can you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice President Alexander. Next, we'll have recognitions. Our superintendent will lead us into those recognitions.
Thank you, President Jackson. I would like to start with Children's Hospital and our CCAA partnership.
Hello, good evening. My name is Dr. Thomas Jefferson. I'm the Education Program Liaison at Akron Children's Hospital. And I've had the opportunity to lead the hospital's partnership with Akron Public Schools since its inception, since I got to the hospital in 2018. So we are, as you all know, we are up for renewal for our agreement. So just wanted to come by and be able to stop by some of the different things that we have done and accomplished so far in our partnership. So each year, we have worked with the students and staff over at North on a number of different things, from our guest speakers to summer internships. Throughout the course of the years, we have done paid summer internships for our North students, where they were able to work 20 hours a week, 15 hours, earn $15 per hour over the last number of different years. We've also helped our students be able to earn CPR certifications, where they get trained with their CPR certification to the American Heart Association with our simulation center. And our students, they really have had the opportunity to get those real hands-on skills, from learning how to put in an IV, to learning how to intubate a patient, to be able to put on a neck brace and be able to put on a backboard, and some of those different types of different things. So we really feel like our partnership has been helpful. We still do take pride being the first named Academy partner over at North High School, where we feel that North is our school and kind of our baby. We feel like those students are our students, and anything that we can do to help those students to succeed, we have always tried to do that. During our partnership, we've tried to think out of the box sometimes, and not just wait for a request to come from the school, but also to be able to bring different requests to the school as well. One of those different examples that I know a couple of board members were able to come to this past year was our Photo Voice project. Our Photo Voice project is where we gave the students the opportunity, we gave them digital cameras, and we asked them, what does healthcare mean to you? So they went out into the community, they took pictures of good things, bad things related to healthcare. They were able to write up a description, and then those students were able to come to the hospital to present to our president and CEO, our vice presidents, our nurses, and our doctors at Akron Children's Hospital. So we really do feel this partnership has been beneficial for the students at North. And then over the last few years, we've also started to do some other branching out at Jennings Middle School, East CLC, then also Allet CLC with the criminal justice pathway. So again, just wanted to stop by to say thank you for allowing us to be a partner with you all, and we look forward to continuing this partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jefferson. Tonight, we will ask our board members to approve their renewed agreement. This is the second time that they have renewed, each time adding additional schools. In addition to being a named partner at North High School, they are a pathway partner at ECLC and Allet CLC for the healthcare and criminal justice pathways, respectively, and a partner with East CLC Middle School, and Jennings CLC. They are known not only for their dedication for our scholars to learn about their community, the world of work, and themselves. This is particularly evident in their Viking Scholars intern program, which you just heard about, which they have been offering every summer. So thank you again to Akron Children's Hospital, who first announced their partnership in May 2017 at our Ford NGL designation ceremony. Next, we would like to spotlight the LeBron James Family Foundation and our partnership. I want to take just a moment to express our immense gratitude to the LeBron James Family Foundation for their incredible generosity. Their partnership with our district is truly one of a kind. Since 2018, the foundation and our board have worked together to create the I Promise School. Our goal has always been to build a nationally recognized model for urban public education. This collaboration has been productive and fulfilling, and it's a relationship we deeply value. Tonight, we want to formally thank the foundation for their latest donation of over $1 million, which will be used to fund several key positions and provide professional development at the I Promise School. This contribution is truly a game changer. It not only enhances our instructional efforts and daily operations, but also strengthens our ability to support our students and their families. The foundation's dedication to our community goes far beyond the walls of the school. They've consistently supported our families and scholars throughout the years, and their commitment to the whole child is evident in everything that they do. Their continued support allows us to provide a truly unique and exciting learning environment where we can instill the 5 habits of promise in our students' everyday lives, both at school and at home. So thank you again to the LeBron James Family Foundation for being such a committed and generous partner. We are grateful for your ongoing support and look forward to continuing our work together to make a difference in the lives of our students and our community. And I believe there is a representative, if you would please stand, Mrs. McGee. And our final recognition is we noticed that we, as a board, as Akron Public Schools, we do recognize our partners throughout the year. And we also, I'm not sure if you realize, we have a Partner of the Year award. So I'm asking Dr. Carla Chapman to please come up. And she's going to hold that for us, and then I'm going to read it just a little bit, and then we're going to ask Ms. Stancy Sykes to come up. 18 years ago, Akron Public Schools, the Akron Zoo, and leaders from Dominion East Ohio Gas, now called Enbridge Gas, came together to collaborate on how we could introduce families to the Akron Zoo and give students back-to-school supplies during our backpack adventure, and that's how it actually came to be born. It is a cherished back-to-school tradition led by the outstanding team, including Judy Hill of Akron Public Schools, formerly of Akron Public Schools, Sharon Connor with Goodyear Right Committee, Glenn Nevels, Dominion, and Kathy Morani of the Akron Zoo. Mariani, I'm sorry, please excuse that. As a result of this wonderful collaboration, hospitality, innovation, and community spirit, the perfect setting has been created for this event each year. With many dedicated volunteers from the Akron Zoo, Akron Public Schools, and community organizations, our families have the opportunity to receive back-to-school supplies, meet their principals and other district staff, hear great things about our APS school bands, and get community resources in a relaxed and welcoming environment. This is truly an example of what we can see happen when the community and organizations come together as one in the name of education. Our ongoing partnership with the Akron Zoo and the dedication of everyone involved make Backpack Adventure a highlight of the year and a powerful way to engage our families before the bell rings. We would like to take this opportunity to thank the Akron Zoo for all of their years of dedication by naming them the recipients of the 2025 Akron Public Schools John S. Knight, James L. Knight Community Partner of the Year Award.
So thank you to the Akron Zoo for the 18 years of service to our students and families. This plaque hangs in our hallway outside of our boardroom, and you will have your own plate for the Backpack Adventure Partnership. And I believe the CEO, Doug Pecars, is here and would like to say a couple of words.
Well, thank you very much. You know, a couple of words is hard for me, so I'll just get that out of the way right up front. But thank you very much for this award and for honoring all the hard work, not just of the zoo, because my team is here with me tonight, and without them, this wouldn't be possible, but also all of the other organizations who have grown to put their shoulder behind this work. At the zoo, we're proud to serve our community through education, connection, and collaboration, and Backpack Adventure is a wonderful example of that. We're very fortunate to be able to bring the classroom programs and field trips to Akron Public Schools students by inspiring them through that connection, because our mission is to connect every life to wildlife while inspiring lifelong learning and conservation action. Everything we do is about accomplishing that mission, and it's very important to us, and we know it's important to you. This event is made possible by so many different generous partners. It extends these lessons by connecting students with animals while providing needed school supplies. It's amazing that we've been able to distribute over 33,000 backpacks across the life of this program. Backpack is so much more than school supplies. It's about people. It's about a place where students can see their friends, feel safe, spend time with their teachers in a fun setting, and their families to discover all of the resources this community has to offer. It is truly about community. What is community? It's standing with unity with one another. It's about advancing everyone with every breath that we take and every investment we make. Amen. While I'm accepting this honor on behalf of the Akron Zoo, and we happen to host Backpack, there are many individuals and organizations that are involved in the event. And if you don't mind, I'd like to ask all those in the room who are involved in any way in this event to please stand for recognition. Mm-hmm. Come on, guys. And you will notice the hesitation. It's because it's from a place of humility that you serve a community. And just thank you all very much.
Yes.
Now, the last thing that I'd like to say is nothing happens without partnership. And Backpack Adventure is one way that the Akron Public Schools has partnered with the zoo on our mission. Thank you very much for this recognition and for all of the levels of partnership over my nearly 30 years at the zoo, because I have personally seen them grow in breadth and depth across that time, and I can't wait to see what the future looks like. Thank you very much.
And our lead for this year's backpack adventure was Stancy Sykes, and we'll give her the opportunity to give closing remarks.
Good evening. It's so good to see everyone out. And I have a special note to mention when I wrap up here. So it's just such a joy to welcome our incredible friends from the Akron Zoo to our meeting this evening. For the past 18 years, Backpack Adventure has been a beautiful example of what happens when community and education come together, welcoming more than 64,000 people to the zoo over the years for this event. This year's Backpack Adventure welcomed 5,685 students and families, a record turnout. Ooh. And more than 2,300 backpacks were given to our APS students. The Akron Zoo has been an invaluable partner, providing not only a space, but an experience where learning, joy, and community connection come together for our families. I've had the pleasure of working alongside the amazing staff here at APS, the amazing staff with the zoo, under the leadership of Dr. Wanda Lash, Dr. Collar Chapman over the years, to plan this event, as well as numerous departments across our district and countless staff volunteers who give their time and energy to make this event possible each year. And we truly could not do it without them. We are so grateful for this long-standing partnership and the way the zoo continues to show up for our students and our families. And so the special note I want to add is one of our family members from the zoo, she has a special occasion on today. Her baby started kindergarten at KCLC today. So that's been so exciting, being on that journey as we plan for Backpack Adventure, just learning and hearing more and more about it. And he had a wonderful day, right? He did.
He didn't eat his lunch, so I think it was a good day. He's missing food.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam President, that does conclude recognitions.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you to all of the central office staff and our community partners for all that you do, because surely we are better together, and to build stronger students and a stronger Akron community and Akron Public Schools. So again, thank you on behalf of the board for everything. Next, we have 8 people who have signed up to address the board. Those of you who were here for the recognitions, you may leave at this time if you like. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Superintendent. Okay. Participants will not be permitted to speak on matters related to vendors, business matters, formal complaints, grievances, specific student records, personnel matters, and potential or pending legal matters. Participants must speak on matters related to the business of the board. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. The board will not respond, but will assign through the superintendent the appropriate persons for follow-up. Please state your name and group affiliations. Again, each person will have 3 minutes. The maximum time that's allowed for the public speaking is 20 minutes total for the meeting. The first person that we have to address the board is Darren Williams.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Outley. It's an honor to be able to stand here and speak before you today. The last time I spoke was in May. I was very proud of the company that I worked for, which was Templeton Transportation, given an opportunity to work with children. So today I come to paint a timeline for you. In May 27th board meeting, Pastor Harrison made an intention of the board very clear by saying, and I quote, "And I think those two companies fulfill the needs that we have as a district as they have been now." Pastor Harrison went on to say, and I quote to the board, "My intention is that we employ all of the van drivers that we currently use." Pastor Harrison went on to say the board's intention clear by saying, and I quote, "So the intent is to employ," and I want to be clear with this, the intent is to employ the van drivers that we have now. So if transportation needs an additional company, a third company, I think that's reasonable. This was followed up by a clear intention from Member Hall when she stated in regards to the third supplementary company, and I quote, "I would recommend that we not go into contract for the full 35 vans because that could potentially take away business from the other two companies." It was clear that Member Hall was also concerned that all of the current van drivers and their ability to work in APS. All of this is to say it is clear that APS is not acting on the intentions of the board because as of today, Templeton Transportation has 0 children, which means the intention to keep all drivers who worked for APS last year is not being met. In fact, 50-plus drivers who worked diligently, passionately in APS last year is currently sitting without jobs and no reasonable timelines that when they will have any. Templeton Transportation signed their contract with APS on July 22nd, 2025, in good faith that APS would honor the board's intention and allow their drivers to have work. On 7/24/25, the district delivered on their promises and gave Templeton 33% of the district students to transport. This is in line exactly with the board's intention to have Templeton work as a secondary company, which is 49% or less of the workload. At this time, Templeton began to route and call parents to ensure that there would be no student left behind, no delays in transportation. On 7/31/25, Templeton received the devastating call that APS was taking back the students. They were told that by Deborah Falk that they were advised by APS legal counsel that by giving Templeton students, they were going against the intention of the board. This led Templeton to have a meeting with Superintendent Outley on 8/14/2025. At this meeting, and I'll reserve to come back, but I want to say this. As of right now, the 10 questions that were given to Superintendent Outley have not been answered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Alan Beers. I hope I said your name correctly.
Hello, good evening. I'm Alan Beers. I'm with Templeton Transportation. And I want to thank you all for listening to me today. What I have to share is something that impacts maybe hundreds of families and students across all of Akron. I'd like to share a statement prepared that's on behalf of Templeton Transportation because, well, I guess I'll just get into it. Dara Templeton, the owner of Templeton Transportation, has asked me to read this statement for her since she is contractually unable to address the board directly. First, I want to thank you for believing in us and our company. It meant a lot when Mr. Harrison fought for us and made his intentions clear in the May 27th board meeting, wanting Akron drivers to remain driving in Akron. I'd like to clarify our intentions as well. When I was asked to put in a bid on behalf of the district's independent drivers for the 24-25 school year, my goal was to help the drivers, help the ones that I've been working alongside for years. I was a driver myself Dara was a driver for 10 years, and her mom was one for even longer. At the time, many of the district's independent drivers chose to stay with APS for one more year instead of joining Templeton. I understood that change can be scary, but since we had already committed to a contract to meet the district's transportation needs, the decision placed my company in a tough position. And as the year showed, the work that was provided by Templeton was invaluable, it was needed. Last year, we transported over 300 students with 42 drivers, and it was a mix of the district's independent drivers who came over, and it was new drivers and new faces that worked alongside the independent drivers that became Buckeye Logistics. The data shows that there is plenty of work for all the drivers who served in Akron's family, and I want to be clear that our intention is not to take anybody's jobs away. Templeton is not asking for all of the students, only to keep serving the students that they have already been serving, the students that they know, love, and have built trust with. For many of them, especially those with special needs or students that are experiencing homelessness, the rides to and from school are actually very critical transition points. It kind of sets the mood for going into school for the day, from maybe even like an emotional regulation standpoint, or just it sets the tone for the whole day, and it even sets the tone for coming back home after school. So disruptions in transportation create real harm for these students and their families, and we believe that we can help prevent that. We respectfully ask that you allow us to continue serving Akron students because doing so best supports their stability and success. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Next, we have Rachel Spiteri.
Good day. My name is Rachel Spiteri. I'm with Templeton. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. For my beloved Alan, who just spoke, and myself, this moment is deeply personal. I have seen children with disabilities missing rides while Templeton drivers sit trained and ready. Routes that were indicated have not been assigned, creating hardships for families, drivers, and most of all, the children who depend on us. This hardship is especially real for Alan and myself because of the 4 L's we've navigated this year. Being let go from a dedicated job, enduring labor trafficking, facing lead exposure, and now standing in limbo. Each of these happened because of our own disabilities were preyed upon. The 4 L's were not just our personal story. They are a mirror of what children and families are going through right now, being let go, put in unsafe situations, exposed to harm, and left in limbo. Yet, through all of this, we have remained grounded in compassion, drawing on the tools we've nurtured over our whole lives. Awaiting this position has taken unfathomable surrender, and our soul's intention to serve where our gifts matter most. In good faith, we purchased new vans, relying on this opportunity. We have been unemployed while preparing, sustaining ourselves through credit. With uncertainty, this is not only a burden of the heart, but potential financial collapse. Templeton invests months ensuring drivers are properly trained and reliable. That matters. For children with disabilities, disruptions are not small inconveniences. They can be traumatic, and trauma stacked on trauma only makes their challenges greater. Proper training and consistency matter far more than speed. What children need most are drivers they can trust. Beyond training, we have devoted our lives to studying psychology and holistic practices to balance the challenges of our disabilities and enhance our gifts. From this lived experience, we have designed programming to help children begin and end their days with stability and care, so they don't have to stand here advocating for themselves as I am today. Right now, I feel we are at the fulcrum, the still point of the scales. Your decision can bring balance and clarity, not only for the drivers, but for families and children with disabilities who are awaiting. We are ready to be steady in that center and to serve with loyalty, honesty, and respect. Gratitude.
Thank you. Next is Gerald Fisher. Gerald Fisher.
First off, I want to say good evening to everybody. I do appreciate you opening this up for us to speak. It means a lot. So to start with, a lot of your faces already seen me last week. I see a few new faces, so I'm going to give a quick rundown of who I am and why I'm here. Gerald Fisher, II, lifelong Akron resident, born and raised in Firestone Park, Garfield Graduate High School in '96. I love my community. I love Akron. I rep it strong and hard, and I'm very proud to be that resident. I am here on behalf of Templeton Transportations. They're, as you've already seen, they're very strong and committed group, and I've had 2 or 3 parents already call me in the last few days wondering when I was going to pick their kids up, and because I don't have, these are children that I had last year, and because we're dealing with different varieties of communities, their communication, varies. So they may not understand what the situation is, and they message me like, "When are you picking my child up?" And all I could tell them is that I'm not their van driver, and I'm sorry to tell them that. Hopefully, maybe in the future that'll change. But I pray for them and wish them the very best, and I hope things, progress forward. And I guess that's just a concern of mine. As I mentioned last week, I'm concerned and confused on where we are, as I'm sure a lot of people are. So I don't have much past that. I just felt like that needed to be heard because the students are very important, and if the parents don't know where their rides are, that's an issue. So you all have a great evening. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Joshua Williams.
Hello. As it was stated, my name is Joshua Williams. Thank you for taking the time to hear our concerns. I'm also with Templeton Transportation. As I was sitting here, one thing that stuck out to me was that partnership is everything. And you guys have chosen to partner with 2 companies this year in transportation, with Buckeye and with Templeton Transportation. We're not looking to push anybody out or start any problems with anybody. We want to represent Akron Public Schools and these students. With that being said, we feel like we are not being represented on our end to have that opportunity to represent you guys as well. So really what we're asking for is just some clarifying answers. What are we guaranteed? What are we not guaranteed? There was an email sent out to one of our own, I believe Ms. Denson Littlejohn, that you cannot guarantee how many students we will have. Understandable. But can you guarantee when we will have students? Can you guarantee when we will have the ability to represent you guys and partner and thrive in harmony with Buckeye? I don't see a reason why we all can't thrive together as we lift up the Akron Public School community. Alongside of Buckeye, they can be lifted up as well. I think that there's plenty of work to go around. We've got 1,400 students who we love dearly. I've received text messages, emails, calls, stating that students don't have rights. It sounds like a necessity, but who's making sure that the necessity is taken care of is the question. So thank you again for allowing me to speak. Thank you again for taking this time to hear our voices. And we just ask for, some clarifying answers on what is guaranteed to us, what is not, so that we can move forward in the right way.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Next, Crystal Corey.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Crystal Corey. I am a Garfield graduate. I've been an independent contractor van driver since 2011. I am sure you are tired of hearing the van drivers in these meetings, and if these proceedings were going forward fairly, we would not be here. We would be at home preparing dinner for our families, but we're not, because this is not happening fairly. We're down here fighting for our jobs again, and I know that you think that Buckeye is the only ones that were down here fighting. We're all fighting. There's no reason that we don't all have jobs here. There are plenty of students. We're receiving calls from students or from parents that their students still don't have transportation, or their students are showing up 10, 20, 30, 45 minutes late for school. That affects children greatly. These students have special needs. If they're missing breakfast, they're missing the Pledge of Allegiance. The administrators at these schools are saying the Buckeye drivers are overwhelmed and they can't start any earlier because they have multiple routes before that, but we have 50 Templeton drivers sitting here not driving. There's no reason that these students are arriving late for school. We were told that both of these companies would be used and that we could choose either company. That's not what's happening. I understand this other company is dealing with a lot. This is a lot of students for one company to be dealing with. I don't know who's regulating how these students are being routed, how they're being transported, but it does not seem fair. There's no need for this to be occurring. And is it the intent for the board for the students to be late for school, for the students to not have rides at all? Because that doesn't seem like a good intent for the board. Whose job is it to investigate the personal relationships between the board members and the members of these vendor companies? This is a difficult word, but it feels very glaringly obvious that there's collusion involved within this situation. I have full faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I know that he is going to provide jobs for our team. We have a very faithful team who believes in God. And it's very sad for me to stand here and feel like I have lost faith within the members of this board. I've lost faith within the fairness and the decency and the honesty of the people who I'm standing before right now. It's very unfair for the students. It's very unfair for the drivers. These parents are concerned. They're concerned that their students are arriving late. Why are we still receiving calls? Why are we being told to direct them to Buckeye, not transportation? I don't work for Buckeye. Why am I being told to tell these parents who are contacting me directly to contact Buckeye? That's not my obligation. I'm telling them to contact transportation. They've contacted transportation multiple times. They're not receiving calls back. They're being told to contact Buckeye directly. So who is overseeing this whole thing? It seems as if we have removed the transportation director and given it directly to Buckeye.
Thank you. Next, we have Stacy Bergdorf.
Hi, I'm Stacy Bergdorf. Thanks for hearing us tonight. I've been an Akron Public Schools van driver for 25 years. This year, 2 companies were approved to transport students: Templeton, who provided excellent service last year, and Buckeye, a brand new company. The board's vote was clear. Both companies should be used so that all drivers could continue to work. But that's not what's happening. Templeton was initially given about 300 students, roughly 30% of the routes. Yet those students have since been reassigned to Buckeye. Buckeye insists on controlling all assignments, deciding what, if anything, is left for Templeton. The result? Children are suffering. Parents are calling us because their children haven't been contacted for transportation. Teachers and caseworkers are worried. Some students are being dropped off 45 minutes late, and these are not just my students. These are not just any students. They are students with IEPs. An IEP is a legally binding contract. Transportation is part of that contract. When these children don't get to school, APS is out of compliance with federal law. Meanwhile, Templeton has 50 drivers fully ready to work. We spent summer paying for insurance, maintaining vans, and keeping our days clear of other jobs. Yet we are being sidelined while Buckeye struggles to cover more routes than they have drivers for. Last year, APS had a system. New students needing transportation were posted daily to the ICOs, and any student who was not claimed, Templeton placed them in a van within 24 hours. That system worked. This year, one company has been allowed to control all the work, and children are being left behind. This district needs to step in, APS, not Buckeye. must divide routes fairly based on the number of drivers available, and both companies should be held accountable for the students they are assigned. Having two companies is smart. It ensures competition and better service. But giving one company all the power is not competition, it's a monopoly. And right now, that monopoly is leaving children with disabilities at home instead of in the classroom. After 25 years, I never thought I'd have to ask, should I get another job or even sell my van? But more importantly, I never thought we'd have to ask if children with IEPs will be left behind, literally at home instead of at school.
Thank you. Next, Lisa Denson.
Hello. Hi. Since I last addressed the board, I've been working to try and uncover some answers to my questions, the questions that I sent in the email. And it's basically about assigning routes between the two companies and trying to get an understanding of how that's supposed to happen. My colleagues have already mentioned that that Templeton was given some routes, and those routes were rescinded. And the answer that they received regarding when the routes were taken back was that the transportation department was not acting on the intention of the board. So that, to me, is where we need some clarification. What is the intention of the board? And some of my colleagues have already talked about that. But, my questions are, I don't believe it was your intention to have one company acting as a monopoly. Is it the intention of the board to provide the primary company with total operating control without quality and compliance oversight? Is it the intention of the board for scholars with special needs and their families to be left home without rides to or from or picked up late? Is it the intention for the teachers to incur lengthy after-school time waits? I know from experience that, they're standing out there waiting for the van drivers to come and take those students at the end of the day. Is it the intention of the board that everyone who drove children last year would drive for this year to provide consistency for scholars? And when that was stated, did that include everyone, or did that just apply to Buckeye ICOs? There are people with Templeton, as you've heard, that were also once direct ICOs, and there are new drivers. But there are several drivers who have driven last year that aren't driving now. So was it the intention of the board, and this is an important one, to saddle Templeton with the expense of training and certifying drivers only to have Buckeye with an unlimited amount of time to scale while they take drivers from Templeton because Templeton has no routes to offer? That's currently happening. So I'm sure that when you made your vote, some of the logistics may not have been completely thought out, but it's necessary that they be thought out now. So these questions remain, available drivers wait, and capacity failures reportedly persist. So we just ask that someone steps in and answers the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. That does conclude our community request to address the board. And as we said, the superintendent will follow up, have the appropriate persons follow up with you all to answer the questions that's been posited here today. Next, we will have board member reflections. Yes, Ms. Hall, Member Hall.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I will just like to concur with the Akron Zoo. When they came today, they forgot to inform everyone that they have a community day, community month coming up September 1st through the 30th, and that's giving free access to the zoo, 4 tickets per household and free parking. So make sure everyone gets out there to the zoo. Since we last met, I know I had spoke at our last meeting about the Tumble Together, the event that the city was hosting, and I wanted to report that we washed over 6 tons of clothes. 6 tons. That's huge in the community. There were many people coming up saying that they were so thankful for this, that their kids did not have to go to school dirty. That meant the world to me, because I know we struggle with those issues, and we know kids do not show up at school because of issues and things like that. So there were so many people that were just so excited about the event. About 300 people came, 91 households washed clothes. Everyone was fed, detergent was free, and even the laundry services were free. You just had to wash your own clothes, of course. Akron Public Schools hosted a job fair. What was that, August 20th? Remember, Audrey and I came, but it was already over. But just the excitement of, and I don't remember everyone's name, but Larry Johnson and Deidre Norris were there, and just the excitement in their faces of having all of these people come to apply for jobs. Over 100 people came to apply, and that's huge. People wanting to work for Akron Public Schools. Also, YSS had a convention last week at the library. There were a lot of partners, community members, elected officials, and so forth there, just to listen to certain people wanting to make a difference in our lives. I know the Boys and Girls Club was there, and they were just telling us different things that they do for our students, our kids, within the city of Akron and all of Summit County. Lastly, Superintendent Otley, you spoke about I Promise. And I remember just, 2 years ago, I Promise was here, upset because of what was being said about our children. And when I go to the schools, to the high schools, and I see some of those children that graduated from I Promise in high school, they walk with pride, they walk with confidence, they are proud of who they are, and they know who they are. And I just want to say shout out to I Promise, the LeBron James Family Foundation, for doing the work, not being discouraged from what other people were saying about I Promise. Our children are smart, they're beautiful, they're loved, and I Promise doesn't just help the child, they help the whole family, and that's huge. So thank you, I Promise and LeBron James family.
Thank you, Member Hall. Member Molnar, please.
Thank you, Madam President. So school has started this year, but I'm not quite ready for summer to be over. So in the spirit of summer, I want to highlight that I attended 2 major local festivals since our last meeting, Highland Square's Porch Rocker Festival and Akron Pride. And you may not have seen me there because apparently Porch Rocker drew over 25,000 people and Pride brought in over 45,000 attendees. And nearly all of them are our local neighbors. I saw one of our APS scout packs, I think from Miller South, and they were recruiting scouts because a scout is kind. And I also want to appreciate Smuckers, I guess, right here, for getting me through tonight's meeting with my free Twinkies here. But I also want to offer an apology because as a board member, I was unaware that Akron Public Schools would not march or have a table at Pride this year, as we usually have been. And so I want to say on behalf of myself, I sincerely hope that no staff members or potential future staff members felt that APS was stepping backwards instead of standing proudly, especially since events like Pride and Porch Rocker are key staff recruitment opportunities. And so I want us, and I hope we are able to talk openly about this at a committee meeting, because we've seen reported widely right now our job fairs, and APS is facing more than 160 staff vacancies. I saw Channel 5 recently highlighted our hiring fairs. Spectrum covered our staffing challenges, and a recent editorial urged us to continue exploring opportunities to attract diverse educators, and hope more community partners join with the district to support these efforts. So I also want to highlight that even under that dear colleague letter that we received a few months ago and current federal guidance, there is nothing legally preventing us from recruiting employees at cultural events. So my question is, as the sixth, I think we're the sixth largest employer in Summit County, what is our HR doing to ensure we don't miss critical staff recruitment opportunities? So if we can hear in a committee meeting who's currently leading HR, how decisions about our job fairs and community events are being made, and the process for evaluating the success of these events. And so if administration could please email me the committee meeting date so I can be sure to attend and receive this information, because I think our students deserve and our teachers deserve to understand people around them who understand their experiences, people around them who represent their communities. And also, while you're emailing me those committee dates, if we have a transportation information committee date, I think that is worth hearing as well. So please let me know that information too. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Member Sykes?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam President, and members of the board. I tend not to say anything during community reflection, but since the community is here and they've been reflecting, I think that we should have some responses to what you've asked tonight. So let me first acknowledge that you did appear before the Finance Committee on last Monday, and I did appreciate your comments there, and I appreciate you being here, and I am sincerely perplexed by the situation that we find ourselves in with your understanding of the contract that we have. And while I am not an administrator, do not want to be an administrator in Akron Public Schools, I would encourage us to, and what I can do as a board member and chair of Finance Committee, is to look at what's happening with our contracts. I think that once we pass resolutions and the contracts are signed, then what's happening after that, and that it seems to be a miscommunication of what is expected of the administration, dealing with our vendors, but whatever is happening, it is affecting our community, because these van drivers are all a part of our community, regardless of what company they work with. And so what I want to do is to see what role we as a board can play in making sure that there is a clear understanding as to the communication, information, education as it relates to our contracts. If in fact the administration was given particular information as to how they are to proceed by the attorneys, who are not judges but advisors, and saying this is how we read this and this is how we think we should proceed, then I understand how the administration has proceeded in the way that they have, because they are taking the advice of the attorney. But at the same time, if it is not clear, if we're not writing the contracts in a way that is very clear what our intentions are, regardless of what we may say during discussions, we do have to make sure that we are abiding by what is in writing and what we have approved as it relates to our community. Because regardless of which side we're, Templeton, Buckeye, or any other contract, all of you are our community. And we want you all to feel that you are treated fairly, equally, properly at all times, regardless, and we want to employ everyone that we can employ. We respect all of you and your families, and so I think that we have some work to do to make sure that we know we can't please everyone all of the time, but I just want you to know I hear you, I respect you, I appreciate you. I am sorry that we are in this situation, but I am willing to and will work to make sure that we correct whatever this issue is. And I can assure you, the staff, I don't feel that the staff is in any way trying to misrepresent or do something that we did not say do. I don't believe that is happening either. I think we may just have miscommunications, and that we need to just kind of figure out how we can proceed and kind of figure out what's happening here. Because my role, and I think the role of this whole board, we want everyone to be as happy as we possibly can, and we want everyone to believe in us as a school system. So I thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Member Sykes. Are there any other board member reflections? Vice President Alexander, and then Autry after Alexander. Vice President.
Go first.
Okay.
Ladies first. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Vice President Alexander. Since we last met, I've had the opportunity to attend a few PTA meetings. And I have seen many back-to-school events. Kudos to the many, many organizations that I saw supporting our students with haircuts, hairdos, backpacks, everything you can need for school. It was very nice to see PTAs preparing to support their schools, and I just want to take another opportunity to encourage folks to look beyond the backpacks because that's important, but education is a complicated and ongoing process. Our schools, our administrators, our teachers, our staff, they need support year round. So I'm encouraging everyone to find out when their first PTA, PTO, parent group, booster group, when they are meeting, come get engaged with your school. Find out what the needs are so that you can support them. Again, I remember speaking last meeting about the PTA School of Excellence. PTA.org is where you can get information about that. That is the national PTA, or OhioPTA.org, which is the state PTA. Also, since we last met, I had the opportunity to attend the Village Ball by the Akron Rites of Passage Institute, and it was a fundraiser that is supporting the Legacy Building Project and the African American Cultural Center and Museum that I am looking forward to coming to fruition. It will be the first ever in our city. Thank you again to the Akron Rites of Passage Institute for their leadership in this area. And lastly, I would just like to share, I did read an article about a ceasefire for this upcoming Labor Day weekend that I'm encouraging each and every person to get involved with this upcoming Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And while this is not a solution, it is a call to pause, reflect, and reclaim community peace. There are going to be events taking place over the weekend that I read about, the Hood Olympics at Perkins Pool and Joy Park, Peace Talks at Kerr Park, Whitney Park, and Minnie Park. And there's going to be a field trip to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The organizations that are sponsoring this are the Akron Urban League, Freedom Block, Hype, Nonstop Growth, and several credible messengers and other members of the community from each side of town. So feel free to reach out to those various websites and organizations to see how you can get involved. That concludes my community reflections. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Autry. Vice President Alexander.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have two things. This morning, I was going to see my granddaughter off to school and to meet her, and she just to kind of let her know that I was going to be there to support her. And they had a very warm welcome at Case Elementary School. It was nice because they met the parents, everybody, the kids, but they also had a red carpet. They had a red carpet rolled out for every kid to walk down so the parents can walk down and take pictures. I thought that was really nice for some positive energy that was going on at the school and see what was going on. I also saw Reverend Walker, who was one of our past board members there with his granddaughter. So it was a very nice event. The energy was nice. The second thing was the convocation. We had our convocation for Akron Public Schools, and the energy there was so great. I mean, I love that energy, and I want to encourage everybody, here at the board, everybody in the city of Akron, we need positive energy. We need a lot of positive energy. We've lost the energy that Akron once had to be a city that thrives, and we have to regain that. So I'm asking everybody in the city of Akron to think about this and come with positive energy. And anytime we have to resolve some resolutions, let's come with positive energy, resolve those resolutions, and be able to move forward. So I'm again hoping for this positive energy to continue throughout the school year, especially for our kids and our teachers, because those are the ones who we really are here for, those students who we need to get to school and make sure they get taught, as well as those teachers who need their support as well. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Vice President Alexander. Are there any more? Yes, Member Harrison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I first want to acknowledge that I hear you, have received your emails to the community with the van situations. I try to answer emails, but there's just so many that you can't answer all the emails. But certainly, I concur with Member Sykes. I hear you, and I look forward to I look forward to looking into this again. So thank you for coming down. And part of the community reflections, I agree with my colleague, Bruce Alexander, about the positive energy and what is needed in the schools. But it's not a but. I also agree with Dr. Molnar as far as the cultural, our presence in cultural festivals. I think that we need to re-examine the Dear Colleague letter. And what does that mean to the district? Because that should not limit us from engaging all parts of the community wherever they are. It is our job to meet them as it's our job to meet the students where they are. I think we have to really look at where we want to have a footprint. And if we want to have a footprint in all of Akron and we want to represent all of Akron, I think we need to re-engage that conversation because if we're recruiting, there's no better place to recruit diversity than to recruit diversity from a diverse population. And there's no better opportunity than all of the cultural festivals in the city of Akron and beyond the city of Akron, because we want to bring to our students, not only national recognition, but we want to bring an international experience as well. So I think that this is an opportunity for us to look at some things that we may not have gotten the results that we expected. And this is an opportunity, as we have heard from the community, as we hear and we read about the need for diversity. I think this is an opportunity for us to look back at some of the decisions that we have made and re-engage those conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Harrison. Is that everyone? Oh, any? That's everyone? All right, that concludes the board member reflections. Next, we'll have the president's report. And just very briefly, to concur with Member Sykes and other board members as far as to try to rectify this situation as best possible, especially when you hear numbers, and I'm speaking specifically for the concerning the van drivers, because I was just, as I was looking over the emails, I saw originally it said it was like 1,500 students that were transported by van drivers. And as I understood, a portion of those have been taken, but not all of them. So I think this is something that we can get out in front of and rectify, hopefully. And as been stated, things are contractual, and we can just follow what is stated in the contracts. And so I wanted to let you know that although the board sits here, we try to be mindful of the decorum and protocol, and sometimes it's a challenge, especially for me as the chair. That's why I have to wait till I get to my report, because I can't talk so much outside of that, but that you are heard, that you are valued and respected as well. Next, I want to talk a little bit about some things that's going on in the district. I went to the convocation and I thought it was great, and what I really love too, when you talk about the positive energy, I thought it was great energy. I loved how we highlighted our student Savion, right? Who from Bookto High School, recent graduate from Bookto High School, who wants to go into the education. He'll be attending the University of Kent State University. He'll be attending Kent State University. But what's so great about that is because we heard Mr. Larry Johnson talk about the Grow Your Own program, and we've had, I think it was like 7 individuals from the district to receive scholarships for that. And it's a really great program because not only does it give scholarship for tuition reimbursement, but also it helps to prepare people who are connected with the district, our students, paraprofessionals, to get prepared and the credential to then come and be educators within a district, which is an extreme blessing and an opportunity that I would engage everyone to take advantage of, because oftentimes well, I say often you teach first, it goes heart, head, hand. So you have to start with the teacher's heart, and that's the character and everything, which helps you then to bring it here and then execute it here, right? From a level of empathy, excellence, and excitement. And so I think when we see people such as paraprofessionals, even though they may not have the degree yet, even though they may not have the pedagogical training, it's an educational word, they are often excellent teachers and they can connect with the students. So it is a wonderful opportunity to look into the Grow Your Own program for those who are hearing this. Those of you who have family members that you think that this may be a great opportunity for them. I see the clock is running, but my report, I don't have a clock, so just so you all know. But I want you to really be mindful of that, and also for our young people in the district. Also, I've ran into this since the last time we met. I was at the Maple Valley Library, and I ran into a parent whose daughter now is at Bowling Green University, and her daughter attended Firestone High School, and she came up to me and said, Ms. Jackson, I got to tell you this, and I'll come down to the board, and I'll say it as you say on the mic. And I said, all right. But she said, I really want to tell you how wonderful that your College Credit Plus program in the district is, and how it has blessed me and my family, because my child was able to start school as a sophomore status because of the college credits that she received. She said, and that's saving us a lot of money. And so these are some of the programs. We talk about our college and career pathways, but College Credit Plus is also something for parents to look at. And sometimes just because you miss it in 9th grade, you can, I know, and y'all can clean me up if I'm wrong, but I think you also can look into it in your sophomore year in high school and still be able to take some college credit classes to help you then be ahead and save money. And the other part, she was well prepared coming from Firestone also because she was admitted directly into our nursing program, which is a highly competitive program if you know about those programs, and typically you're not admitted directly into that. So I want to just thank Ms. Toylisa Wright for sharing that with me so that I can share it with you all. Next, as Member Autry, she spoke about some of our community partnerships, and we talked about book bag giveaways and things of that nature. Dream-A-Wig was at Bookto High School about 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, and a graduate from Bookto High School, I believe, the founder of that company is, and also an entrepreneur within our community. And she has a nonprofit where Dream-A-Wig, I believe, provides wigs for young people or cancer patients or people dealing with hair loss to some capacity from health, and gave away book bags and things that the community needs. And I want to really shout out Dream-A-Wig because that was excellent. Also, Carrington Financials generously donated football jerseys to students at Bookto and I believe ECOC. So we want to send our gratitude for their support and for reaching back into their communities. Also, we've heard about the vacancies as far as teachers needed and vacancies in Akron Public Schools. And as been stated by Member Molnar and also Member Harrison, as far as what is the district efforts. I know at our last board meeting, both Dr. Lash and Mr. Larry Johnson had presented to the board about various strategies that they were trying to employ. And I think, as we've stated, as many things that we can do to try to get people in front of the district and possibly employed, but we want quality people as well. And the more places we go and interact with people, we can find that. So again, just the continuation of expanding those efforts and knowing that Akron is being intentional to not only recruit and hire people that are currently ready, but also to grow our own. With that being said, lastly, I would like to highlight and extend a sincere thank you to the City of Akron, the Akron Police Department, our officer, Security Director, Mr. Alan Jones, the Superintendent, Central Office leadership, and my board colleagues for their collaborative efforts in finalizing a new safety and security agreement, which reflects the shared commitment to the safety and well-being of our students, staff, and families. We're very glad we reached this agreement in good faith, and also to give the assurance to our families that, in fact, we did care about what they were saying and the unreadiness, and we were better together, and we collectively came with the understanding that before our school doors welcome students, we were ready, and everyone, we felt safe and got rid of the unreadiness. So that does conclude the president's report, and I thank you for the time. Next, we'll have the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Jackson. I would just like to echo the sentiments of our board members who spoke about our 2025 convocation. I would like to give a special shout out to our chairperson, which was Dr. Carla Chapman, and
I'm sorry, Superintendent? Yes. If I may. Yes, because I wanted to say this too about Dr. Chapman. At the convocation, when I talked about the energy being so excellent, and if you were there, it was a vibe, right? And so Dr. Chapman was running around, she had her microphone. So at the end, I told Superintendent, this was a great convocation, you guys did so well. Keith, wonderful job. You guys' energy was so awesome. So I go to Dr. Chapman and I said, Dr. Chapman, you guys, this was like this and that. She said, and I said, you did a really good job. She said, no, it's the team. Better together. Like, she didn't even take, even if it would have been a simple thank you, but she really acknowledged and took the moment and said, no, this was a team effort. And when you see a large event like that, and logistically to make things happen, it is a team effort. So just thank you for your leadership and your heart to acknowledge people who work alongside you, because again, we're better together. So I definitely wanted to say that. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. Although you took some of my thunder. So now I would like to ask Dr. Chapman to stand, and also all of our members of senior staff who was part of that work. If you missed the video, we have some serious dance moves. Let's stand up. Yes, thank you. I was at a school today, and one of the teachers said, are you going to keep us posted on the students in their journey now that Keziah Merriweather's going up to first grade and Savion Wright is going into college his freshman year? Will you keep us posted? So yes, we will make sure we provide updates on their journey. Also, last Thursday was our first day of school. We welcomed back our first and second grade students, and I had the privilege of starting my morning not at a school, but actually at our bus garage, where I was able to meet all of our dedicated bus drivers, and they are responsible for traveling many, many miles, picking up our students and getting them to school safely so that they can begin their learning journey at school. So I want to thank the incredible team members who are often the first faces that they see every day to school, and offering a warm welcome and a steady presence and a safe ride. Their commitment sets the tone for everything else that follows. Also joining me was Gilby, our district mascots, as we traveled to Findlay and Jennings, respectively, to help welcome our students and families. It was truly an honor to stand alongside our passionate staff as they greeted their students with smiles and hugs, and reuniting of friends who have not seen each other over the summer. And the joy on our staff faces was nothing short of magical. The first day of school always brings a special kind of energy, and this year was no exception. So I'm excited for what lies ahead and proud of everything that this school year holds. And just please remember that our theme is forward, achieve, propel, sustain. Also, today was the first day of school for our preschoolers and our kindergarten students. On Saturday, I was privileged to attend an event along with members of our Student Services Department, led by Dr. Wanda Lash, to attend the community block party at the Faith Place. We had the opportunity extended to us to connect with many wonderful people from the community and to engage in recruitment for both staff and students. So again, we want to thank the Faith Place for extending that opportunity to us. President Jackson, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Next, we'll have the treasurer. Oh, sorry, Member Autry.
Thank you, President Jackson. I just had one final comment about the convocation. I hope we're looking into the situation between Gilby and Zippy that I witnessed. You had to be there.
Thank you, Member Autry. Mr. Bowers, we'll now have the treasurer report.
Good evening, President Jackson, Vice President Alexander, members of the board. Tonight I'm going to go over the July 2025 financial report. I have it up here on the screen. Move down to page 3. So this page is an overview of how our general fund financial activity added up in July. So keep in mind that this is just 1 month in our fiscal year, which runs from July through June. It's not a calendar year. The first set of blue, yellow, and green tiles shows our July activity for revenues, expenditures, and cash balance compared to the July 2024 revenues, expenditures, and cash balance. And you can see that we are trending favorably in revenue, expenditures, and cash balance is low. That is lower than last year. The second set of tiles is comparing this 1 month of actual data plus 11 months of projected data to the May 5-year forecast. And as you can see, there's also very little variance so far this year. Down below, we have the blue and gray bar chart. This shows the ebbs and flows of our cash in the general fund over the course of 2 years. The gray bar represents last fiscal year, so 7/1/24 to 6/30/25, and the blue bar shows 1 month of this current school year plus 11 projected months. We're currently estimating that our cash balance will be $81.5 million at the end of this fiscal year. I'm going to move on to page 4. Here again, we're comparing the revenue from July of last year to revenue from July of this year, but in more detail. The largest variances compared to last year are due to the following. In section 1, we see that we received $3.5 million more in real estate taxes, $177,000 more in state aid, and $3.2 million more in all other revenue. The large increases represent collections from the new tax levy and revenue in lieu of taxes. In section 2, we see that because we're in the first month of this new fiscal year, our July revenue equals the total revenue received so far this fiscal year. Makes sense. Moving on to page 5. Here's the same detail except for the expenditures. Purchase services increased due to an increase in cost of property insurance, including fleet insurance. The other expenses and the all other expenses category decreased from last year because we made a $2.8 million textbook purchase in the month of July that we did not make this year. And down below, we again in section 2, we see that because we're in the first month of this new fiscal year, our July expenditures are equaling the total expenditures for the full year so far. And on the final page of the monthly financial report, this is where we compare actuals plus projections to the May 5-year forecast. And as you can see, through 1 month, there's very little variance as compared to the forecast. Revenues and expenditures are trending favorably. It's minimal, but we're still trending favorably. In each month, we'll continue to monitor this as the year progresses. Any questions on the financial report? Okay, moving on, we have our monthly bank reconciliation. This is just attached to the financial report every month. It shows our book balances versus our bank balances, and that we reconcile this. This just ensures we're being diligent and making sure we record all the activity of the month for the month of July. And attached to this, there's also our commercial paper filing. We have to file this every year in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 135.142. It allows us to invest in commercial paper throughout the year, which helps us earn as much interest as we can on our short-term revenue. That concludes the monthly financial report. I think So in 8.3, I believe I'm going to defer to Member Sykes. She's going to talk about the appointment of a public records custodian.
Member Sykes?
Madam President, may I?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. As you see, we have a resolution here that would appoint a custodian and/or designee, appoint a custodian for our public records per Ohio Revised Code 149.43. I think in speaking with our new attorney, our staff attorney, we realized that we had not done this officially. And so we wanted to actually bring in the resolution to do that, and that's what this does. In addition to that, it also requires that individual receive 3 hours of public record law training. So I did talk to our interim treasurer about that. He indicated that he had started to look at taking that time and looking forward to completing those hours pretty quickly.
Yes, I'll get that done by the end of the year, which is by the requirement, yes.
We want to make sure that we're following the Ohio Revised Code, Section 149.43, and that we are in compliance. But also what this does is that, quite often if there is a request for public records, and we have heard from the media, and they want to know where should we go, who should we ask, how could we, what are we supposed to do? And I think this answers the question. And so I would ask, I would move that we support and vote for this resolution to appoint a public record custodian.
Second.
It's been moved by Member Sykes and properly second by Member Harrison. Any discussion? Member Hall?
Thank you, Madam President. Just for clarity, Wayne Bowers will be our custodian? Is that, okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Autry?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Reverend Harrison?
Yes.
Dr. Jackson?
Yes.
Dr. Molinar?
Yes.
Mrs. Sykes?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the approval of the previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve regular board meeting minutes for June 23rd, 2025?
I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from August 11th, 2025.
Second.
Yes, thank you. August, I need to correct that. August 11th, said June 23rd, 2025, please. Okay, it's been moved by Member Hall, properly second by Member Sykes. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Bowers, roll call, please.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Reverend Harrison?
Yes.
Dr. Jackson?
Yes.
Dr. Molinar?
Yes.
Mrs. Sykes?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Autry?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Bowers. Next, we'll have our personnel recommendations. Superintendent Outley.
Thank you, President Jackson. Does the board have any questions about the personnel items for Section 10, professional staff and administrators?
Yes, I was just to say I have a point of correction, but Member Harrison.
No, go ahead. I just had a comment.
Okay. We did not, it was needed to be a motion to approve the financial report of the treasurer, and that motion was not made, so I need the record to reflect that. Is there a motion to approve the financial report of the treasurer?
So moved.
It's been moved by Member Sykes. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Vice President Alexander. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Roll call, please, Mr. Bowers.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Autry,
Yes.
Ms. Hall,
Yes.
Reverend Harrison,
Yes.
Dr. Jackson,
Yes.
Dr. Molinar,
Yes.
Mrs. Sykes.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. And Madam Superintendent, was on personnel recommendations, and Member Harrison did have a question. Member Harrison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's not a question, but I just want to highlight here in the retirements, Joe Vasilati, who will be retiring in December of this year. Mr. Vasilati has been a long time athletic, I would call him director, for Akron Public Schools, and I'm sure he has seen Akron rise in its heyday of athletics, probably back before member Bruce was like the great basketball star that he is. People don't know that Bruce, great basketball star. But yeah, just want to say thank you to Mr. Vasilati for all of the hard work, all of the rainy track meets, the cold football games, the indoor, the building of the facilities, all of the things that goes into being an athletic director, hiring of coaches and finding coaches. So just want to thank Mr. Vasilati for all of his years of service and commitment to our students.
Thank you, Member Harrison.
I just want to say ditto to that.
Thank you. Superintendent?
Does the board have any questions about Section 11, miscellaneous? Section 12, supplemental contracts. Section 13, substitute teachers. Section 14, tutors. Section 15, support staff. Section 16, paraprofessionals. Section 17, child nutrition. Section 18, maintenance, operations, transportation. Section 19 is security. Section 20, students. If there are no questions, I wish to recommend the approval of the personnel recommendations presented in categories 10 through 20.
Is there a motion to approve the personnel recommendations in categories 10 through 20?
I move to approve the personnel recommendations.
Okay, it's been moved by Member Autry and seconded by Vice President Alexander. Any discussion? Member Hall?
Sorry about that. It was funny. You guys were all looking at me, ready for all these questions to be answered, and I missed the beat on one. So I do apologize. It was for Section 12.1 regarding the varsity golf coach. It's not really so much the coach. A lot of our schools, kind of the same thing with Firestone, their swim team. If some of our schools don't have golf teams, our students allowed to go to those schools to be a part of the golf team if they're not at that school, very similar to how we discussed with Firestone.
Superintendent,
I don't believe so, but I'm going to ask Michelle Marcus Kearns, is that correct? They cannot do that, correct?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
A point of clarification for myself, because as I understood it, if it was not offered in the school which they attend, and that was the only offering, that they would be able to take that sport at another school, which is what was posited earlier to this body, I recall. That if your school did not, I'll be right with you, Dr. Molinar, if the current school did not offer a certain sport or activity, that then a child within APS could elect to sign up for said sport, just like swimming, at another school. So I'm going to just put that there, and we can circle back to it, but that is very fresh in my mind, that statement. Yeah, Ms. Kohler can come out. Dr. Molinar will speak now.
Thank you. Yes, I specifically asked this question at an OHSAA meeting at an OSBA event. So it was when the Ohio High School Athletics Association was presenting to board members, and the example that they specifically gave was golf. Because golf is a sport that no one practices at their school. Like, none of our schools have a golf course. Everyone has to transport to a golf course to practice golf. And so after this meeting, I know there's a lot of confusion here. After this meeting, I would like if administration can give a specific email and reference to what that is aligned to. I think that is going to be very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I did address this topic in Friday Notes a couple of weeks ago. I put the follow-up with the OSHA links. So at one point we were able to do that. As of now, you cannot within a public school district, even if your school doesn't have that. But if you attend a charter school, you can play for another school within your district. So I put that in Friday Notes with the links. So please feel free to follow up if there are more questions after that.
We can republish that for you, Dr. Molinar.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Colvin.
Question.
Member Autry, because that's.
Thank you, Madam President. Additionally, related to that, because I did just recently have a community member ask me something similar. At a later time or in the Friday Notes, if we could get information on if a school doesn't have a sport, like how many students does it take to show interest for said sport or activity to take place? For example, if there were enough students at another school who wanted a swim team, how many students would it take? And is that something that we would empower? But for any activity, because I understand that first dibs goes to our union members who would want a coaching position. But if there's no interest in that, then it should go to a community member. How are we letting community members know that, okay, even though we don't have a staff member who might be interested in being an advisor or coach, how do we promote that to the community? Because there's several community members who might be willing to come in and do the work to build up a team from the ground up. I know that's a lot of hard work to do that, which is what I think discourages folks, especially if you're starting from the ground up. Some of our students don't get exposed to sports such as golf and swimming at young ages. So if we could get some follow-up regarding that, thank you.
Thank you. And I do know when we talk about community partners, Town does an excellent job, and they did build up the framework at Bookdale actually for golfing. And so we do have certain community partners that can work to establish those. I think the key is then who will run with the charge after they build the framework, who's going to be the advisor to keep it going. But we do have some great, like I said, Town is an excellent community member, especially for our inner city schools and our young people, because they have a passion and heart for it. Member Hall.
Thank you. Just one more thing. I noticed in 20.1, we have student workers. Super excited about that. Are these high school students working? And also, I'm curious to find out what schools these children these young adults are working at? And is this offered to every single school to have at least 1 or 2 student workers?
Yes, these are current students, and the program may be through JOG. Let me.
General fund, so it's not through
It is,
JOG.
no, then it's through, I would have to
That's
find
through
out for
us.
sure. Yeah, these
Do you know
core
Marcy Ebright?
workers.
Because I see
Marcy.
So, I don't know. I want to call anyone up here don't know, but when I see college career, I see it look like y'all are having a conversation. I'm just saying, Keith.
Yeah, Judy would probably be the one to answer. These are
Okay.
existing positions in human resources in which we can hire our students for specific tasks.
Thank
So
you.
that's an existing job description. I think it's been around for a very long time. So I know that kids have filled those roles in the past.
Excellent. And thank you for saying that on the mic, because I love when I asked about kids being employed, and it was a lot of excuses a couple of years ago. So I love to hear that. Thank you.
And we are looking at ways to expand that as well through JOG. So.
Excellent. Any other questions? Yes.
Sorry.
No worries.
Follow up on the golf. And yes, Dr. Culver is right about you cannot be on the team, but you can compete as an individual. And that's why golf was such a great example, because you compete as an individual anyway in golf. And so if a student goes to a different school, then they would practice with the other student from the other school, and you're your own team, because in golf you're your own team anyway. And that's why golf was such a good example for that. So I think the question would be, if you have 2 students from 2 schools, do you need a different coach? If you would have had 2 students from the same school, would it have been a different coach? I think that's an internal issue and not an OSH, AAOH, whatever issue.
Thank you, Member Molnar. Member Harrison?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I think that presents a lot of different challenges. And as I did read the link, and when you go to the website, it kind of says 2 of the same things, but it says it different. So I think that the question would be better answered if our general counsel would reach out to the state and give us a clear answer as far as what we're asking, because we've heard 2 different things here, and then the link says something different than what we heard here. So I think that would be a great opportunity to engage our council with the board, and if the council can get it clear, and maybe our questions, we can just email our questions directly to the council, because I hear 2 different things and I read something different as well.
Thank you, Member Harrison. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing and hearing none. Mr. Bowers, roll call, please.
Reverend Harrison,
Yes.
Dr. Jackson,
Yes.
Dr. Molinar,
Yes.
Mrs. Sykes,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Autry,
Yes.
Ms. Hall.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the division recommendations, resolutions, and motions. Superintendent?
Does the board have any questions about the division, recommendations, resolutions, and motions for Section 22?
Member Hall?
Thank you, Madam President. Section 22, Resolution 22.5, where it talks about fresh fruit and vegetable program. I know that we voted back in, was it June or so, for 2 or 3 different companies that provided fruits and vegetables. My question is, this here is a grant that we received, $572,000 for. How does that work? Because I know that the funding was, back in June, the funding was coming out of general funds for the fresh fruits and vegetables from the other companies. But with this grant, does that offset some of the money that we had spent, or we plan to spend this school year?
Okay, we'll have Ms., with your permission.
Yes,
Ms.
please. And so I think it was always a grant.
Was it always a grant?
I think.
Yeah, this one I thought.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong.
Good evening, President Jackson, members of the board, Superintendent Otley. What you voted for in June was the regular meal program, and that comes out of what is called the 006 account. That is dedicated federal and state funding. It is not general fund. Child nutrition is completely self-supporting, which is unusual for school districts. This particular grant is an additional grant to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables to be served in between breakfast and lunch. These are other opportunities for the individual schools to participate in nutritious items during, say, in the between morning or slightly before the end of the school day.
So like snack?
That would be like a snack. That's
Okay.
correct. You
All
cannot use them as part of the regular meal program.
Okay, understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right.
I wish to recommend the approval of the division recommendations, resolutions, and motions in Section 22.
Is there a motion to approve the division recommendations, resolutions, and motions in Section 2?
So move.
It's been moved by Vice President Alexander. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Member Hall. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, roll call, please. Mr. Bowers?
Dr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mrs. Molinar,
Yes.
Mrs. Sykes,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Autry,
Yes.
Ms. Hall,
Yes.
Reverend Harrison.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Bowers. Next is the business affairs recommendation. Superintendent Otley.
Does the board have any questions for Section 23?
Member Harrison?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, in 2326, the University of Akron tuition agreement with the Akron Early College, if we can get that agreement reattached, I'm not sure that was the agreement that was attached. Maybe it was, if we can just get that reattached.
It's just the invoice.
Are there any other questions?
Did you want to hold off on voting on this? Because this is an invoice, so we can go, you just are asking me to send it to you later, okay? Yes.
Because we see what it is. But
Yeah.
Thank you, Member Harrison. Any other questions? All right. Roll call, please, Mr. Bowers. It was a motion. The motion, yes. Is there a motion to approve the business affairs recommendation? So moved. Section 23. Thank you. It's been moved by Member Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Member Harrison. Any discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none. Mr. Bowers, roll call, please.
Dr. Molinar,
Abstain on 23, 26, yes on the balance.
Mrs. Sykes,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Autry,
Abstain from 23.1, yes on the balance.
Ms. Hall,
Yes.
Reverend Harrison,
Yes.
Dr. Jackson.
Yes.
Motion carries on everything but 23.1, 6-0 abstain. Everything on 23.26, 6-0 abstain. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Bowers. Next, we'll have our committee reports, legal contracts and board policy.
Thank you, Madam President. There's no report for this evening. We will be meeting on September the 15th at 5:30 here in this room. Legal contracts and board policy will be meeting September 15th at 5:30 in this room. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Vice President Alexander. Next, we'll have finance and capital management, Member Sykes.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, and member of the committees. We did meet, Finance Committee did meet on August 18th, and there were a number of things that we did discuss. One, in no particular order, we just want to bring to the board as a whole that we did have a discussion about the state audit performance. I think it is the report of the committee that we probably should proceed in allowing the interim treasurer to fill out the forms that will go to the state auditor. And that way it will help us to determine the timeline, the cost, and the scope. The superintendent, who was present at the meeting, stated that we probably would be able to use funds out of the Educational Service Center, which we usually refer to as ESC, but it's the Educational Service Center, and there's usually allocation of about $600,000 per year. And it is estimated that we probably would use at least $60,000 of that to pay for the audit. And so I think the committee recommendation is that we should proceed with that. I think during the conversation, the president mentioned that the last time we had an audit, she was graduating from high school.
1998.
1998. So I think it is time for us to do a real in-depth and detailed performance audit. So that would be the recommendation. I don't know if we really need to have a vote or anything, but just that's the report of the committee that we would recommend that we proceed with that. There also was a discussion on the construction update. The first news is that the Kenmore building is now demolished. It is down. You know, if we've had driven by a month or so ago, you had big equipment out there, and part of the building was still up, but it's all down and level, so we've told. So I know the community is happy to hear that. I am happy to hear that, and we are proceeding with the Miller South Pfeiffer building on that particular location. There were some discussions about what's happening with the funding as it relates to the Community Learning Center. You may remember that we did, when we supported this project, we did say that this would be a Community Learning Center, which means that we would be able to receive the money that is now in the custody of the city. And my understanding is that they are still working to find out if there will be any penalty under the arbitrage language. Right now, we find that we are about $15 million in cost overrun. The money that the city has now is about $17 million. And so if, in fact, we can receive that total $17 million, I'm sorry, I said 7, I meant $17 million, then that would leave us with a couple of million to do something else with. So hopefully the finance director at the city of Akron will let us know that as soon as possible. I think we've been waiting quite a while to find that out. We heard from our director of buildings, Ms. Folk, that the finance director indicated that he got a partial answer and that he was working to get a full answer, which I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, that maybe he talked to them going through up to a certain time period, and now he's asking for the last time period as to whether or not the city of Akron would be, whether or not there would be any type of penalty. So if we will receive the $17 million or less. But that's where we are now. I recommended to our treasurer, to our interim treasurer there, that perhaps he wants to make contact with the finance director and try to figure out this too and what is the holdup, because the sooner we find out how much money we have to work with, then the easier it will be for the superintendent and her staff and all of the consultants that we have to figure out how we can continue to proceed. But again, we have 15 million cost overrun, there's 17 million sitting there. So if we can receive that funds, that would be great. We also talked about Bookdale and what's happening there. We heard that the amount is between $1.5 and $2 million as it relates to the concession stand. Member Hall asked if it also included a number of other items, and so I found actually what it says. It says in this official document that it will include in addition to the press box, it will include, phase 2 would include the new restroom, concession building, site work, surfacing of the track, stormage, drainage, and design of the future stadium lighting, landscape upgrades, and possible fences upgrade. And the project may include more than one building depending upon the final agreed upon design. So it's my understanding that the architect, we're in the process now where we are looking at selecting the architects for this. And we will continue to ask someone to come before the Finance Committee to give us an update, and we will keep the board as a whole updated on where we are. But we seem to be on schedule, and the idea is to have this project to begin in the spring of next year, the spring of next year. So that's where we are with that one. I should also say there's something else about the Middle South that I want to say. I'll remember and come back to it. But the other item on the unfinished business, I did mention to you that we did have some of our community leaders and members came before us to talk about what was happening with the contract as it related to van drivers. And as I said, this is just a bigger picture. I think that we probably want to just kind of look at contracts and see if we can get contracts through committees earlier so that not only will the community have a longer time to look at it, think about what's happening with various contracts, but in particular the board, we have the responsibility to vote so that we'll make sure, so that we can make sure that we are saying and doing in the contracts what we actually mean. And sometimes when we rush through these processes, that the execution of what we expect to happen may not take place because we may not have taken the proper time to make sure that it was clear what our expectations were. And so with that, we will continue to try and keep up with what's happening with contracts. And it's not just the van driver's contract, it's not just the contract with the police officers, it's just all contracts within the city, within this system. We want to try to have as much time as possible to know what's happening with those. And most of the contracts are annual contracts or biannual every 2 years, if not every year. So we know when they're coming up. So we could start sooner in discussing these and bringing these to the committees. I think that it will be advantageous for all of us as a community. And then finally, well, not finally, but under new business, we also talked a little bit about what's happening with IT and ransomware, and that the state budget, state language made it clear if we find ourselves in a situation where our system has been taken over and we are asked to pay in order for them to release our system back to them, the state will not be responsible for any financial payments that we may find that we may have to pay if we find ourselves in this situation. However, we did learn also that our system is ahead of the game, that various things have been done to put safeguards in, and perhaps we will continue to work on trying to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that we are not a victim of someone trying to or taking over our software systems within the Akron School. And then I do want to make a correction with You asked about the language as it relates to taking custody, who's responsible for the, we just passed allowing our interim treasurer to be the person to have custody of our public record, yes. So this actual language does say the interim treasurer and name him. However, at the point that we select a new treasurer, a permanent treasurer, I will say that Madam President, we probably need to come in with new language and maybe make it more general, just say the treasurer of the school district shall be the person who has the custody of the language, as opposed to actually putting a name in. Mm-hmm. Because every time we put a name in, if that changed, we'll have to keep coming back. So, but for what we passed tonight, it did name the interim treasurer. Okay. Yeah. So that is the report. There was something else I cannot remember what it was that I was going to say, but that is the report of the Finance Committee, unless there is something that one of the other members of the committee would like to mention. Final thing was that there is a community meeting being scheduled for the project with Miller South Pfeiffer. That originally it was to take place sometime in the spring, summer, but that was delayed, and now I think the meeting date is sometime in September. I don't know if the exact date has been determined, but the month is September, so we want to let the community know that, so that we know they're all anxious about what's happening with the Miller South project. So in September, that will be. You have any? I don't know if the superintendent has any idea when that will be announced, when that meeting will take place.
Yes, Ms. Falk just finalized the date.
Okay.
And we'll make sure the staff and the families are aware, and also the council person.
Yes, Ms. Falk.
We currently are looking at September 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. at the community center.
Okay.
That will be scheduled at that location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And so we will announce that several times. We can do that during our board meeting, as well as, are you going to put it up on the website and all kinds of other places so that the community will know when that next community meeting is taking place? Thank you, Madam President. That's the report of finance.
Thank you, Member Sykes. Next, we'll have instructional policy. Member Autry.
Thank you, Madam President. Before I get into that, I just wanted to mention in regards to the Buchtel project, I know I've mentioned it before, and as they're proceeding on, I just want to remind them that the masonry program had a design that the class put together. It's probably been 10 years now. So hopefully they'll take a look at that. When young people are a part of building something, then they tend to value it a little bit more. And hopefully they can have opportunities to work on a project. I know I've said that, but I just want to keep it in the forefront of everyone's mind as we move forward. There's no report for instructional policy. We will be meeting next Tuesday, September 2nd at 4:30 in this room. And we will, the bulk of the meeting will be about our preliminary report card data. And also future agendas, we're going to be doing some deeper dives into our CCA. And so if there's anything that my colleagues would like to see around that, let me know, because student achievement is what we're here for. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Autry. Currently, there is no Member Hall.
Thank you, Madam President and Vice President. I just wanted to announce that Student Success, the fourth committee that Dr. Molinar created, will be meeting to plan this out and looking at September 29th to have our first meeting at 4:30. I know that there's two of us, so we will need another person appointed if we have to have three, or it can be two, however. What's your pleasure? But I just wanted to announce the date of the meeting will be September 29th at 4:30.
Thank you, Member Hall. Actually, I was looking at the policy, the committee policy the other day, and because since the president is ex facto on every committee, I didn't know if that is why originally they had two, and then because by default the president is a member of that committee. And so it may still be all right just as it was, because I was just looking through that, like, just from my own review. So we'll look into that, but I think you'll be fine.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Seeing none, there is no unfinished business. I'm not aware of any new business. Is there any new business? All right, no new business. There is no need to enter into executive session today. The next meeting will be on Monday, September 8th, 2025, here in the boardroom at 5:30 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Vice President Alexander. Is there a second? It's been seconded by Member Hall. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Bowers, roll call, please.
Mrs. Sykes?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Autry?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Reverend Harrison?
Yes.
Dr. Jackson?
Yes.
Dr. Molinar?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We stand adjourned at 7:28 p.m.
Thank you, Madam President.